Jake, good morning.
So, good morning. So, one of the, some of the folks who watch this know that, I used to work in a newsroom and some of them used to work in a newsroom with me. And one of the truths that is very similar about working in a newsroom and working at a cybersecurity company is that people have great senses of humor. There is something about working with very difficult facts. In a newsroom, you're covering things that, well, are difficult. In cybersecurity, you're defending something that's, well, difficult. Like there's no 100% security. You're talking about things that are not, boy, I got to say, the senses of humor in both organizations is truly, truly my cup of tea. So that's one thing. And
Yep.
our incident response team, one of the team members really has a terrific sense of humor. The others are funny too, but one of them has a really great sense of humor.
Yeah,
That's
but
it. Those are.
it's gallows humor, you know.
I
It,
will not. I will not say it is necessary. Some of it is lighthearted humor. Some of it's like dad jokes, but there's all kind. All right. Anyway, we got lots of news to get to today,
yeah.
and it's been an eventful week. I was in Pocatello, Idaho last week, talking to a group of rural hospitals with Fred Langston and Jonathan Inskeep. Great conversations about the NIST framework and how to take limited resources and create a mature security program. And you near Idaho, Spokane, there was that great article about Pisces
Yes, there was.
out of Spokane, and yeah, I mean, it looks like Pisces has been doing great work too.
Yeah, and for those that aren't familiar, what Pisces means is the Public Infrastructure Security Cyber Education System, because everything needs a great acronym. The,
Especially in cybersecurity, more than
especially.
remember how I talked about the similarities between cybersecurity and news?
Hmm.
Cybersecurity has more acronyms.
Oh yeah, we have more secret handshake language than anyone else.
Yep.
So what Pisces does is we perform no cost cybersecurity monitoring for small government organizations. And in return for doing that, we use the metadata that we collect and IDS alerts from their networks as live fire curriculum for about 10 colleges and universities. And it's a number that's getting bigger. So I think we're monitoring something, we're inching up on 20 organizations we're monitoring across the country because we have them in Kentucky now and Colorado and other
Hmm.
places.
Hmm.
So local governments get some infrastructure protection,
Yep.
and the country gets workforce development.
Hmm.
And this cyber analyst job is the 10th fastest growing job in the country. So yes, there have been some good saves from Pisces. More importantly, the students that have gone through the program are getting hired.
That's really
So
good news.
that's
And
the success metric right there.
and I'll never forget the guy who came up to us at that conference and was like, Mike Hamilton, I was with Pisces. I love you. And you're like, who are you? But anyway, great guy. And he didn't join us because he got some like 6-figure job working for an insurance company in a SOC.
Yep. Yep.
By the way, one of the other good piece of news for Pisces, and this is important for anybody in Western Washington, is the director of CISO will be visiting at the end of the month.
Yep.
And you're going to give Ms. Easterly a briefing on the Pisces project, including bringing a couple of students that we hired, not that other guy who went to that other organization.
Right.
So that's great. But anyway, let's get to cyber news here. I know you're pretty busy, and busier than you is me. So go for it.
Okay. All right. So reporting this week, let's see. This number dances around all over the place, but reporting this week says that ransomware attacks have gone up after a brief kind of respite, which we talked about here and was likely related to events in Russia, including efforts by the US to do things like curtail the payment systems they use, right? The
Mm-hmm.
crypto exchanges.
Mm-hmm.
And like we've also discussed, there's a piece this morning on the rise of data exfiltration as an extortion tactic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically stealing your records rather than snarling your network. And then there was another one on triple extortion. There's one gang that's going all in on triple extortion. So it uses ransomware, stealing your records, and running denial of service tools against your network. So that's fabulous. I mean, I hate to say this again, right? Going back to the gallows humor, but we're losing. We are losing.
Mike, that's not humor. See, when I say people are funny in the organization, I don't
You're not talking
actually,
about me.
I don't mean Mike. Like, that's not good. Yeah, no, no. If you're watching this, you can put in the chat if you think Mike's funny. I'm not so sure. By the way, I like the way you say it when you're doing security awareness training, that we're having our backsides handed to us. It's
Well,
true.
and depending on the audience, I might say that differently. But
Mhm,
yes,
mhm.
and there's another slightly good piece of news. It seems the Justice Department is actually bringing these criminals to prosecution, but it's taking a long time. There's one case that started in 2019, and because of COVID, the extradition process from the UK to the US was slowed way down,
Mhm.
right, for reasons. Um, Also on the FBI, they have sent a team to Montenegro to work on the hacking that country has taken from Russia. And what I read is water and transportation systems have been hit, but not permanently damaged. So, that's real infrastructure disruption. And
But
we're seeing,
wait, the FBI is there to help?
yeah. Well, so my sense is the FBI is there to observe how critical infrastructure was hit so that we can better protect our own. Right.
That makes sense. That
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. And it sounds like it's pretty serious attack, which makes you wonder if this is, shaping the battlefield, as my friends in the military say.
Mm,
Um,
mhm.
the feds are also, HHS, Health and Human Services, also warning the healthcare sector this week about Evil Corp. Remember them?
Oh yeah.
Right? They kind of come and go.
Mhm, mhm.
Well, now they're back and they're very serious. And the reporting says, and this should not be a surprise, that Russia may use these groups as a way to attack the West without direct attribution to the Russian government. This as punishment for Western sanctions tied to the war.
Mm,
Raise your hand if you've surprised by this. We
mm,
have talked about this over and over and over about this, collusion between these two groups and how they can hide behind this. And now it's coming right out in the open.
mhm, mhm. I guess I'm not surprised. I mean, we've talked about it over and over.
Yeah. Well, and, more on critical infrastructure. The feds are serious now about getting classified information out to operators, right? And the article was really about aviation and rail. Um, Originally, and this goes way back to probably mid 2000, first decade in the 2000s. They said we're going to give security clearances to everybody so that we can give all you critical infrastructure operators classified briefings. Well, that never worked out. Um, the process is really long, and I can tell you it's pretty invasive. So I think what they're doing is they're reading them in when there's something they need to know, which is good,
Mhm,
right? So the other thing they're doing, and by they I mean CISA, they're
mhm,
getting up in the grill of TSA and the EPA to start setting requirements for transportation and water sectors.
mhm,
Also, all very good. But there's going to be lots of pushback from these sectors. But hey, you guys, it's really time to step up. You see what's going on around the world. Infrastructure's being hit, and with the rise of mercenaries and activists, this population of threat actors has exploded.
Again, not funny.
Well, I'm not
You're
trying
just
to be funny.
Yeah, no, you're a bundle of joy. I mean, do
Mhm.
you sometimes wish you were still working in government and actually affecting the policy?
Sometimes, but working in government can be pretty frustrating.
Mhm,
Um, but about this activist thing, an interesting article this week on how Anonymous and other volunteers seem to have lost interest in hacking Russia. After a bit of an explosive start, they're bored. That's what it said.
See, that was funny. I mean, I don't, oof, they're bored. Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they didn't have the success that they thought. I think if they'd had the success that they thought that they might, then it might not have been boring. But who knows? Who
I don't
knows?
know. Some of it that sounded like, they hit the space agency and, the propaganda ministry. I mean, initially there was a lot of stories, but they've all fallen off.
Well, I guess attention span of a cat, right? If you're not a criminal enterprise, then attention spans drift.
Okay, that's a good way to put that.
There you go.
All right. Another interesting piece caught my eye. It's time to once again challenge one of the buzzwords that this industry loves so much. And the article is about how corporations are spending billions of dollars on malware defense that's easy to beat. And they're talking about EDR,
Oh,
endpoint
that's not
detection
good.
and response. Yeah. It's not that it doesn't work, it can be effective, but the arms race between the cyber companies and the criminals is starting to turn in favor of the criminals who are figuring out now how to bypass the technology.
I mean, I read that article, and there's a line in it. Evasion of EDR technology takes an extra week of the criminal's development time to penetrate a large organization. I mean, we've always said there's no 100%. There's nothing that keeps you safe 100%. No
Yeah.
EDR technology. One of the things we do is managed EDR, so that gives you that extra layer. EDR on its own is just not good enough. And by the way, oh, Mike, I haven't told you about this. There's a company that we're talking to right now where their insurance paperwork has said they need managed EDR.
Really?
They need EDR with a SOC backing it up. And
Well,
just so
that's
folks know, like we do that. Like you
yeah.
got Sophos, you got CrowdStrike, you got Defender, you got Carbon Black, Palo Alto, Cortex. Like we can be your managed EDR provider. Not
Eyes
that
on
this is a
glass. Yeah.
commercial, but that's what you need, right? I mean, isn't that? I mean, I don't know. Do you think that's what's going to replace EDR or just layer on top of EDR? I don't see
No,
EDR going away.
well, I don't either. But I think if you have fooled yourself into thinking that you're going to just trust a piece of technology that's going to automate itself and put out fires by itself, you're probably in for a bad experience.
Yeah.
It is always better to have eyes on glass so that when something comes up, it gets investigated. There's a an audit trail behind it. All of those things end up being really important, especially because one of the things too this week was all of the new regulations that are hitting the financial industry, right? Between the SEC and the FTC and the Department of Financial Services in New York, um, the finance industry is just being pummeled with new
hmm
regulations, and it's about reporting in 72 hours. Some SEC is saying 4 days. It's all over the place, and there's going to be a lot of industry pushback on this.
Yeah. All
There
right, Mike.
already is.
Threats and phones. We're running short on time here. I
Okay.
see. I see the audience falling. No, I'm just kidding. I can see you in the audience right there on YouTube. I know who you are. No,
YouTube does
threats
not
and
work
phones.
a two-way. Okay. So threats and
YouTube is a two-way mirror. You just don't know
mm,
it.
okay. CISA has added another group of commonly exploited vulnerabilities to their list.
Mhm.
I won't go through them here. It's easily Googled. But again, these are the ones that empirically are being attacked. These are the vulnerabilities that are actually, being used to get initial access into networks. So go look.
Mhm.
Um, Australians are having difficulties with a watering hole attack. Okay, that pushes a keylogger onto them. Right, I'm going to set up a website. It's booby trapped, and I'm going to use probably your marketing techniques to get people to come to that website where it attacks them. Right. Um, this has, I think, everything to do with what's going on in Taiwan and the South China Sea.
Mhm.
Oh, this is bad. Malware is being hidden in images from the James Webb Space Telescope, and that
Oh
is
no.
awful. Yeah, yeah. I mean, everybody wants to see these things, and so okay, criminals jump on. Um, this malware is written in the Go language, and so I think it's cross-platform. Microsoft found a problem with TikTok that results in account compromise. So for whatever a TikTok account is worth, there's a
If you're 12, it's worth a lot.
okay. There's a Chrome extension with 1.4 million installs that steals your browsing data.
Mhm.
Just patch
That's
Chrome.
wonderful. Yep.
Just
Great.
patch Chrome. Okay, if you haven't done it lately, and stay away from extensions. And if you haven't updated Apple products lately, do so as soon as possible. There were also patches out for Cisco, VMware, Zimbra, and IBM products. And this one is interesting. On your Android device, turning off the Wi-Fi might not be working like you thought it worked. And the device may continue to scan for networks, which is not what you want it doing. So go to location services and turn off Wi-Fi scanning. You'll be glad you did. So hopefully everybody's getting information on these updates and getting them applied. And if this is new information for you, start searching.
That's a big list, and I know there's more, but it is more important that we get to the kicker. The thing that this is where Mike attempts humor. Mike, tell us a story that'll make us smile.
Okay. All right. One that I thought was funny this week comes from the Register, and if you don't read the Register, you're not getting the benefit of seriously snarky headlines.
Mhm.
So this piece was about a 30 terabyte drive, solid state drive, being sold at Walmart for $17.99. Okay, that's way under what storage costs. So not on the face of it, that either sounds fantastic or fraudulent. So of course, someone took one apart and
Of course
peeked
they did.
inside. And it turned out to be two SD cards glued into place and modified firmware that made it appear to the operating system when you plugged it in that it was 30 terabytes when it was nothing like that. So now it's been pulled from Walmart, so it's resolved. But the best thing about the story was the title. Walmart sells fake 30 terabyte hard drive that's actually two small SD cards in a trench coat. That's funny.
You know what? You said something funny. Somebody else wrote it, but you said it. So therefore you get credit. Well done.
Well, my job is just to repeat what everybody else is writing anyway during this 15 minutes.
Well done. Well done.
Okay.
Well done. All right. So separately, I'm curious for something, and people put it in the comments here because I want to know what you think. Very important things going on in TV right now with we got the new Game of Thrones spinoff and the Lord of the Rings spinoff.
Yeah.
And I'm watching the Star Trek Discovery, and fight me, but I love it. It is great. I am curious if folks are more Game of Thrones, more Lord of the Rings, or more Star Trek. Star Trek feels old school to me, but I really love
Strange New Worlds for me.
Oh, is it good? I haven't watched that one.
I think it's good.
I'm in Discovery. Okay, we'll do that. All right, great. All right, everybody, tell us what you think. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.